Hi guys, I'm Christy, and me and Vinosh are going to be presenting this paper, A Practical Algorithm for Topic Modelling with Provable Guarantees. So first of all, why is this paper important? Well, information at the moment is just so random, but there's so much of it. And we have lots of clever mechanisms for searching this information, but there's no real data structure, there's no real organization to this. So it's a bit like an information overload. We've just got all this information coming at us and we don't know how to organize it effectively. And so many of our things are just ineffective and inefficient. So what we want to do is we want to find a way of organizing it so that we can query things effectively, so we can organize things and find relationships between information, all that kind of stuff. And so one way of doing that is by organizing things by topics. But topics aren't really well defined. They're kind of abstract. So for example, this might represent a topic, and we can kind of get an idea about what the topic's about. We've got transportation, parking, mobility, and to a lesser extent there's things like accessibility and destinations and safety. So you can kind of, from these words, work out what all these documents are about. But it's really hard to define it. Like, are you going to define it as transportation? But then there's going to be a lot of things about like trucks and parking and safe travel and accessibility. So just one word doesn't really define a topic all that well, especially since transportation might be useful in another thing here where this is talking about, I don't know, station and that kind of stuff. Or over here we've got a lot of commercial and industrial kind of words and office, but that might link into transportation. And the same with over here, workforce, innovation. So we've got these topics, and it's kind of hard to define them and kind of work out what, like mathematically, what they are. They're kind of more intuitive for a person, but computers work on maths, so it's kind of difficult. So, topic modeling. What this task does is it defines topics as probability distributions over words. So basically they grab a bunch of documents about this one topic, and they see how often does this word appear. And for example, this yellow topic, we've got the word gene appearing 4% of the time, DNA representing 2%. So they're actually quite large percentages when you think of just how many different words there are in the English language. To have the word gene coming up 4% of the time, so if you had like a 100-page document, that's like saying that the word gene comes up 4 times in that whole document. So that's very unusual just for random documents. But for documents about this topic, it's probably not unusual. And that's the whole point of it. We have here a different topic where life comes up the most, followed by evolve an organism, brain, neuroscience. Here we have probably computer science. So from that, we can actually look at these documents and go, okay, let's pretend that this document was generated by some amount of topics. And so we just grab a random topic, pick a random word from that topic and stick it in the document. Obviously that's not quite the case because these documents are ordered. It's not going to make sense if we just randomly put words there. But that's how we view the document, because you can just look at the document as a bag of words and kind of get a feel for what kind of topics that document is about. And that's what this task is trying to do. It's trying to construct a mathematical model to do that. So we have these topics here, which are distributions over words. We have these documents, which are distributions over topics, and these distributions over topics are created by randomly picking out a topic and randomly picking out a word and generating it in that way. And what we want to do is we want to get a document and we want to be able to infer a hidden structure onto that document, or we want to be able to situate the document into the model somewhere. We can grab a document and say, this was made by these topics, for example, even if it's a completely different topic from when it was generated to start with. So here is an example of a word topic matrix, and this is kind of how we put together all the different topics, because topics are distributions over words. So, for example, topic 17, represented over here, has a high probability of the word node, network, networks, that kind of thing. And over here, there's another one with a whole lot of different words like hierarchies and reconfigurable. And so we can extract these word topic matrices because we can just look at the documents and go, okay, this is the probability distribution of each word just by counting. But what we can't find is the document topic matrix. That's for each document, what topics is it about? And that's what this task is. It's trying to effectively work that out with statistics. So how they do that is this paper assumes that word topic distributions are separable. Now, how they define that is they say that there's an anchor word for each topic, and that means that there's a word in a topic that has some non-zero probability. Doesn't have to be the biggest probability, but it just has to be not zero. And no other topics can have a non-zero probability for that word. So in other words, that word is unique to that topic. So when you have a document and you find that word in there, you go, well, it has to at least be partially about this topic, because if it wasn't, then what generated the word? Because we remember that documents are viewed as being generated by different topics by randomly picking out words from them. But there's no probability of getting that word from any other topic, so it's got to be from getting it from that topic. So they assume that these anchor words exist, and what this paper does is it proves that it can learn in polynomial time the parameters of the statistical model that generated the topics, so that we can work out which documents are about which topics. So the reason we're looking at these provable guarantees and polynomial time things is because at the moment the methods are, well, they're approximate, they're not exact, but most of them are NP hard. So they involve, for example, solving integer linear programs for each topic, and that can just take forever to do. So we do some sort of approximation to make it polynomial in time, and that's what this paper is about. It's about working out how the documents are distributed with the topics in provably polynomial time. So the algorithm, it takes a corpus of documents, and you've got to set the number of topics, because the complexity is all based on however many topics you want, because the topics have to be separable. So if you have too small a number of topics, it's going to be, it might be very easy to find it because there's going to be some words that don't appear. If you have heaps and heaps of different topics, that might also be easy to find for some, but then there's going to be some that have just a few words in there and they might appear in other topics. So the number of topics is really important to how quickly this thing runs. So the output is the word topic matrix and the topic matrix. So what it does is it computes the word-word co-occurrence matrix. That means how often two different words appear in the one document. Then normalize the matrix because you might have a really long document and so it appears heaps of times or whatever. So you want to normalize it so that there's no bias. And then it tries to find the anchor words. That's one of the steps that this paper goes into explaining how it's more efficient. and then it has to try and recover the topics, and it does that in another efficient way as well. So it doesn't assume that the topics aren't correlated at all. There are other algorithms that assume that the topics aren't correlated, and the authors of this paper actually looked into it and found out, well, topics are pretty correlated a lot of the time, so we can't assume that the topics aren't correlated at all. You're more likely to find, for example, in a document that's about computer science, you're more likely to find that it's also about maths. But you're probably not going to find in a topic about sport that it's also about marine biology. So there is some sort of correlation there because documents are about similar topics. You don't have a document that's about two completely separate topics. But the main assumption that this algorithm makes is that the word topic distributions, that's just the topics, are separable. So that just means that there exists an anchor word like we were talking about before. And that's a trickier kind of assumption to hold, but that's the one that it takes. And so we'll go through now what happens. So the contributions that the paper makes is it provides a combinatorial method of anchor selection, which is much faster than the previous integer linear programming approach. It shows that it's stable in the presence of noise. That's just because it's combinatorial. And it shows that it's provably polynomial in its complexity. And that's really important because before the algorithms weren't provably polynomial, they might run for ages and we wouldn't know. So then it also goes through the recovery step, and basically the previous matrix inversion approach that they used in their last paper was really sensitive to noise, and they replaced it with kind of a more naive gradient-based inference approach, and they found that actually worked pretty well and was really, really quick. Then they also look at the empirical comparison of the algorithms to see if it actually works better. So here is an example of the word-word co-occurrence matrix. So you can see here the word Canada and careers come up twice, but something like jobs and employment come up 204 times. So we take this word-word co-occurrence matrix as an input to our anchor selection process. And what we do is we take these word-word counts as a point in V dimensions. That's like however many words in the vocabulary is V. So we take it in V dimensions and we plot all these points. And we might find that some points are clustered really closely together, and then there might be a spread like here, and that's kind of like representing different topics because we've got all these here and then all these here about material science and physics. But the question is, what about all these words that are on the outside? Now, it's kind of difficult to visualize in V dimensions when this is only 2 dimensions, but you can visualize kind of in 3 dimensions what happens. These words on the outside here, what do they represent? Do they hold some sort of significance? And it turns out that they actually do. They are the anchor words. So, to find the anchor words, we grab the word-word co-occurrence matrix, and then we compute the convex hull of those set of points, which is actually quite difficult, it turns out. It's efficient in 2 dimensions, but it's quite inefficient for greater than 2 dimensions, so they use this approximation method, which is basically a recursive greedy method, and they grab just a random point that's there, and they find, okay, well, what's the furthest point from the subset of these points? And they go, grab this one here. And then they go, okay, these are 2 points now convex hull. What's the furthest one from here? Oh, that's over here. And they do this recursively until they've got k topics.
The topic recovery step aims to extract the distributions of words for each topic. Since we have found K anchor words, they act as a unique identifier for each topic. But since topics are defined as distributions of words, we need to find the topic word distributions. In the author's previous paper, they performed topic recovery using matrix inversion. They permuted the word-word co-occurrence matrix Q so that the first K rows and columns contain the anchor words and then discard the remaining rows and columns. This produces a diagonal matrix because by definition an anchor word has zero probability for all other words. They then formulated the relationship between the matrix Q and the word topic matrix A and the topic matrix R. This equation was solved using matrix inversion. The new method uses a variation on the word-word co-occurrence matrix Q. It normalizes it into the probability of each word co-occurring. Here, the variable W represents a word and the variable Z represents the topic. For an anchor word, this first probability is 1 because the probability is 0 for all other words by definition. So this simplifies to the probability of a word given a topic. But for any other row, this probability isn't 1, so it remains at this equation. Since this is a convex combination of the anchor words, we can simplify it down to this sum instead. So now we have gone through some of the equations, we are able to understand the algorithm presented. The authors first normalize the word-word co-occurrence matrix as we just described. They then compute A and R using Bayes' rule. The algorithms that were tested are the original recovery method, the topic recovery method presented in this paper, and a common Markov chain Monte Carlo method based on Gibbs sampling of the posterior distribution. The experiments cover various aspects of the algorithm. They generate completely synthetic documents to test the efficiency of each of the recovery algorithms presented. Using two real-world datasets, they generate semi-synthetic corpora using an LDA model to compute the reconstruction error from the true word topic distributions and the trained model. For real documents, they use metrics such as held-out probability and coherence to quantify the performance of the model when the true parameters are unavailable. Two real-world datasets are used throughout, a large corpus of New York Times articles and NIPS abstracts. The reconstruction error is calculated by comparing the learned word topic matrix and true matrix A and then evaluating the L1 distance between each pair of topics. Where the true parameters are unknown, they used the held-out probability by calculating the probability of an unseen document under the learned model. If the model is good, then the probability will be high. If the model is good, then high probability words for a certain topic should co-occur frequently. This is measured by the coherence metric, which has been shown to correlate well with human judgment. Intertopic similarity gathers the set of the n most probable words and counts how many of these words do not appear in any other topic's n most probable words, thereby measuring the discerning power of a topic under the model. We can summarize this as the number of unique words across topics. The efficiency results show that the Gibbs sampling and recover L2 method is linear in corpus size. However, the recover KL and recover algorithms have performance invariant of corpus size. The fast anchor words algorithm, as described previously, takes less than 6 seconds for all corpora. The reconstruction error of the word topic matrix for semi-synthetic corpora is now presented. It shows that the L1 error drops significantly as the number of documents are increased, as does the variance represented by the error bars. Also included is the so-called infinite data case, where the ground truth word topic matrix has the lowest error. This is significant as it shows that their model of the Q matrix as an approximation to the expectation is a good one. This chart shows the metrics for real documents, that is, when the true parameters are unknown. The held-out probability is worst for the recover algorithm, while Gibbs sampling produces the best. However, it has worse performance for coherence and better performance in the number of unique words per topic. It is clear from the previous slides that the empirical results compared to common approaches in the literature, such as Markov chain Monte Carlo by Gibbs sampling. These new algorithms for topic recovery use Bayes' rule. By using Bayes' rule to compute the word topic matrix allows an order of magnitude improvement in performance, allowing running time to be independent of the size of the corpus. Future work involves using the output of the algorithm as a prior step to further optimization, for example by combining with MCMC, though they have not found a hybrid that outperforms either method independently. Future parallel implementations have the potential to support web-scale topic inference. This paper provides a provably polynomial time algorithm, which is an improvement on current algorithms which rely on purely empirical methods. It transforms a difficult statistical problem into a simpler geometric one and solves it with Bayes' rule. However, the contribution remains an incremental one, as it does not change the field of topic modeling, but rather improves its performance.
Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to our talk. Usually we would ask for questions, but since this is a video talk, we can't do that. So instead, if you have any questions, please feel free to email either of us at the emails we have here. See ya!
See ya!